That's why I'm trying to get short-term
So
questions.
the
It's
short
one or
term
the
is-
other, right?
You're using our time.
Yeah.
So most of that was done before I came on board. However, the
DOGE.
decisions in the department I run the department. DOGE does not run the
Okay, so you
department.
didn't answer the question. Did you fire them or did DOGE? It's real simple.
A good majority of that happened before I came on board.
Okay, then by a good majority, 2/3, 3/4?
But yes, I'd
Okay,
say.
fair. Okay. And how many times did you meet with Elon Musk
I've
about
met
firings?
with Mr. Musk probably 3 to 4 times now.
Okay.
Not including when I was on the transition committee and had several opportunities to speak with him.
Sure.
What happens when a billionaire tech mogul's influence collides with public education dollars? That was the tension on full display during a House Appropriations Committee hearing this week, where Representative Mark Pocan pressed Education Secretary Linda McMahon on workforce cuts, outside influence, and whether Elon Musk's orbit has quietly entered the Department of Education. If you want clear, fact-based breakdowns of what really happens in Congress, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an update.
May I
Thank you,
just-
Madam Secretary. No, I think it's my question time, if I can.
I thought I had a few
They'll
more
start the
seconds.
clock. I just don't want to lose my clock.
Oh,
And if we could do short-term answers rather than long-term ones too, that'd be helpful, just because I got a lot I'd like to talk about. Let's talk about
some
waste,
need
fraud, and abuse a
explanation.
little more, about DOGE. So you fired 1,300 people. Another 600 people took Elon Musk's deferred resignation offer. Did you fire the people or did DOGE fire the people? I'm not completely clear on that.
Most, excuse me, most of that restructuring happened under the acting.
Short-term, did you fire or did DOGE fire?
Well, I'm going to tell you who I fired.
I know, but that's why I'm trying to get short-term
So
questions.
the
It's
short
one
term
or the
is-
other,
well,
right?
You're using our time.
Yeah.
So most of that was done before I came on board. However, the
DOGE.
decisions in the department I run the department. DOGE does not run the
Okay,
department.
so you didn't answer the question. Did you fire them or did DOGE? It's real simple.
A good majority of that happened before I came on board.
Okay, then by a good majority, 2/3, 3/4?
But yes, I'd say.
Okay, fair. Okay. And how many times did you meet with Elon Musk
I've
about
met
firings?
with Mr. Musk probably 3 to 4 times now.
Okay,
Not including when I was on the transition committee and had several opportunities to speak with him.
sure. And then if I understand it right, on your Department of Education employee roster, you have right now at least is about 16 DOGE employees. Is that correct right now, working with you?
I can get back to you to the exact number. I don't think it's that high. But we
Okay.
do have, they are employees. Those that we have are employees of the federal
And
government.
when you did their background checks to see how they're qualified about education, how many had undergraduate degrees and how many had graduate degrees in
I
education?
can get back to you on that.
Okay, so you don't know offhand?
No,
Did you ask that question?
no.
No, okay. Did you ask if any of them were teachers previously?
I did not interview those people that are part of the
Okay.
DOGE group.
And did you ask if any of them worked in schools? Did you know if they were
Actually, I had a
asked?
conversation with one of them yesterday who did have a background in education, technology education, and had worked across several different aspects and was really schooling me a little bit on some of the AI things that we could bring in.
So one of them had a good background, good. Any of them work in universities that you know of prior?
I don't know.
Okay. Fair enough. So part of my concern is, I know yesterday there was this big splash, Elon Musk is stepping back. We call that horse hockey where I come from, right? We know it's not real. He's in the back closet. I understand you guys don't want his, front and center, but he's still in the room. And he's still making a lot of these decisions. And that's the real problem that I have is, you've got a bunch of folks that he brought in that you've admitted you didn't hire, you don't know their backgrounds if they have anything in education, yet they're helping you fire half of your employees right now. And I'm really concerned about that. Do you know if any of them have requested or gained access to any sensitive data held by the department, including student loan borrower data?
Well, as government employees now, they have been vetted through the same process than any other government employee would. And so what access would be granted to other government employees, they
Okay,
have.
That's fine. And then, do you know the number of people that you've had to reinstate of those fired?
It's about 74.
About 74. So how did that happen? Because, I've been an employer for 37 years. The dumbest thing I could possibly do is fire someone just to rehire them, right? Because you've given them no job security. It's like beyond stupid, right? Not saying that because you didn't do it. Clearly, it sounds like this is from Elon Musk. But how did that happen that people got fired and no one thought of you might need them in your department?
Some of that did happen when I returned.
Okay.
Now, I was in the private sector. I have done restructuring in firms, and it's painful to do that.
Yeah, but
And
fire people
wait,
to
no,
rehire them?
well, here's the thing.
Like usually that's not a strategy.
When you are restructuring a company, you hope that you're just cutting fat, sometimes you cut a little in the muscle and you realize it as you're continuing with your programs, and you can bring people back to do that.
Yeah,
So
or
that's
you
what
can
we
plan
did.
ahead and not fire people to rehire them, right? That would be another strategy that I think is more often used. Would you agree?
Well, I'm saying that I have been on both sides of that coin, and I found them both to be effective.
Okay, interesting. We have a different perspective on that, but maybe the world of all-star wrestling is different than my world of business to business. You talked about, I agree with you about contracts enriching private contractors at public expense. Does Elon Musk have any contracts with the Department of Education?
First of all, I just
It's
need
a simple question,
well,
please.
not
This
that I
is
know
my
of.
time. I have 38 seconds, please,
Well,
Madam
I don't know
Secretary.
if he does or not.
You don't know if Elon Musk has any contracts in your department, and you've met with him multiple times?
Elon Musk doesn't have contracts in my department.
So Department of Education, there are no contracts with any Elon Musk company. That's what I'm asking.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. All right. You want to check a blue card real quick, or are you pretty sure of that?
I said not to my knowledge.
Okay.
If I find out differently, I'll be happy to get back to you.
All right. And just in the last few seconds I have, just real quick on private schools getting public dollars, just so you know, something like 3/4 of the students that wind up going into those schools already attend those schools, and they're getting tax money. So if we get rid of the Department of Education, should we put the private voucher program under Ways and Means because it's really more of a tax benefit than an education benefit?
Well, I'm happy to get back to you on that as to how we restructure the Department of Education going forward and how those programs are handled.
Great. Appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
You're welcome.
Pocan wasted no time. He opened by zeroing in on mass layoffs at the Department of Education, noting that roughly 1,300 employees were fired, while another 600 accepted what he described as a deferred resignation offer linked to Musk-affiliated cost-cutting efforts, often referred to as DOEG. His central question was simple but revealing: who actually made these decisions? McMahon's answer reflected the ambiguity that has raised alarms across Washington. She acknowledged that most of the restructuring occurred before she formally took office, while emphasizing that she, not DOEG, runs the department. But under continued questioning, she conceded that roughly 2/3 to 3/4 of the layoffs happened before her arrival, leaving unanswered questions about who was steering the process during that period. This matters because the Department of Education oversees federal student loans, civil rights enforcement in schools, and billions of dollars in aid. Sudden staffing cuts can ripple through classrooms, loan servicing systems, and state-level education agencies that rely on federal support. If you find this kind of accountability reporting valuable, hit subscribe so you can stay informed as these decisions unfold. For critics, that admission cut to the heart of the concern. People without clear backgrounds in education policy were allegedly advising on layoffs and restructuring within a department whose decisions directly affect millions of students. If you care about how public institutions are staffed and governed, subscribe now so you can keep following this story with us. Pocan then raised a broader issue, one that resonates beyond Washington. He challenged the idea that Musk was stepping back from influence, suggesting instead that his presence had simply moved out of public view. According to Pocan, the real problem was not optics, but authority, whether unelected private sector figures were effectively shaping federal education policy without transparency. Another moment that stood out involved reinstated employees. McMahon confirmed that about 74 individuals had been rehired after being fired. Pocan, drawing on decades of experience as an employer, criticized the practice, pointing out that firing and rehiring workers creates instability and undermines institutional trust. McMahon defended the approach, arguing that restructuring can sometimes remove necessary staff and later reveal operational gaps. The exchange then arrived at what may have been the most consequential question of the hearing. Does Elon Musk or any of his companies hold contracts with the Department of Education? McMahon initially said she did not know. Under pressure, she stated that to her knowledge there were no such contracts. Pocan pressed her to confirm, emphasizing that she had met with Musk multiple times. Her final answer remained cautious, saying she would follow up if she learned otherwise. That uncertainty is exactly what watchdog lawmakers worry about. Federal contracts involve public money, and even the perception of favoritism or conflicts of interest can erode trust. If you want continued coverage that tracks these questions and demands answers, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future hearings. As the clock ran down, Pocan pivoted to school vouchers and the flow of public funds into private schools, noting that most students receiving voucher dollars already attend private institutions. He raised a provocative question: if the Department of Education were eliminated, should voucher programs be treated as tax policy rather than education policy? McMahon did not give a direct answer, instead offering to respond later. What this hearing revealed is not just a disagreement over management style. It exposed a deeper debate about who shapes education policy in America: elected officials accountable to voters or powerful private actors operating behind the scenes. These decisions affect teachers, students, families, and communities nationwide, and they deserve scrutiny, transparency, and informed public discussion. If you want reporting that explains not just what happened, but why it matters, subscribe now and stay with us as we continue to follow the money, the power, and the consequences.